Unhappy England seem to have left the door ajar for India. England don't project the assurance a 2-1 series lead should, and India can cash in on that in the Oval Test. England are peeved, ostensibly because India escaped with a draw at Old Trafford, but actually for Ravindra Jadeja and Washington Sundar denying them an extra hour's rest. That the fate of a 5-match series could change in the span of 7 hours is what makes Test cricket such a great leveler. But the blame for England not being able to seal it in Manchester also falls squarely on them. Flat pitches, predictable batting and unimaginative bowling has stripped this series of the interest it generated in the build-up, leaving raw emotions dictating some key moments of the last 2 tests. They clapped at Lord's, India clapped back the next evening at Lord's. Ben Stokes tried to belittle Jadeja and Sundar's effort at Old Trafford and was duly shut down, and shortly after the world got to read the transcript of what went down. It makes for great television, but ultimately can't cover up for the glaring holes in England's strategy. India have been gritty, but that isn't the only reason each of the 4 tests have gone on till the last session of the 5th day, a record in its own right. So unyielding has been England's bat big narrative that bowlers have been shortchanged in the process. Despite England's push, strike rates remain a definitive way of judging bowlers in red ball cricket. And England's numbers are dire. On India's last tour of 2021-22, when England had still not rebranded themselves till the last test at Birmingham, 4 bowlers, including Ben Stokes, had strike rates below 50. This time, only Stokes and Josh Tongue have been able to stay in that territory. And there is no chatter about that at all. Not only that, the complexion of England tours has also taken a turn for the worse. Overcast mornings don't scare batters anymore, seam bowling comebacks in the afternoon are a thing of the past, and pitches are more pliant than before. There were 6 350-plus scores during the 2021-22 tour, but that mark has already been bettered a staggering 12 times this series. On a green Leeds pitch, India were shot out for 78 in 2021. This time, a pitch with dry grass cover welcomed them, and the scores read 471, 465, 364 and 373/5. England won't admit it, but by tinkering with the conditions that made England such a tricky place to tour, the hosts have left the door wide open for sides who can rile them. India figure high on that chart. They arrived unsure of Sai Sudarshan's place in Karun Nair's future, and still managed to hold their own despite average returns from them. Shubman Gill cashed in though, like any batting great in the making would, and that left England frazzled at Birmingham, and then at Manchester. More frustrating must have been how India's decision to sacrifice a specialist bowler was vindicated at Manchester. Jadeja and Sundar had every right to complete their hundreds, but England's collective meltdown in the garb of taking the moral high ground has exposed their stress. India cannot win this series now, but England's behaviour indicated they may be on the edge heading into the Oval Test. England's moral whataboutery apart, India stand to gain much from their resistance at Old Trafford. When you're put under pressure, when you're put under the pump and you end up batting 5 sessions, I think that's great character, Gautam Gambhir said after the drawn game. And anything that you do in these conditions, when you're put under pressure and you come out of those pressure moments, it is always a great feeling. And it just ends up giving a lot of confidence in the dressing room as well. And I'm sure, going into the Oval, we will be high on confidence, but we can't take anything for granted. This series keeps finding ways to make the narrative spicy though, as is evident from the new controversy involving Gambhir, a straight shooter, and the Oval curator. Videos surfacing on social media don't paint a pretty picture. England will have to take a closer look at their approach. There has rarely been a plan B if their batting fails, and the bowling is pretty bare bones unless Jofra Archer strikes with the new ball or Stokes keeps soldiering on. Outmatched in skills, exhausted and frustrated, England look nowhere close to a side leading the series 2-1. India would have taken note of that. Like, comment, and subscribe for all the latest updates on England versus India and other international cricket clashes.